Unit 9, page 136. Read.
Fast food in a fast world.
I'll have a hamburger, fries, and a Coke.
The language may change, but you can expect to hear this order in hundreds of countries all around the world. In fact, dining in fast food restaurants has become a way of life for millions and millions of people, from Buenos Aires, Argentina, to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam.
The pluses.
What is it about eating on the run that so many of us find appealing? Of course, the most obvious answer is that, true to its name, fast food is fast. In today's hectic society, people don't want to waste time. But apart from the speed of ordering and getting served, satisfied customers mention other factors such as convenience, reliability, price, and yes, good taste. Many people choose to eat fast food because it's convenient. There are so many fast food locations that they can stop to have a quick meal almost anywhere. People who don't like to cook are especially happy to find one of these restaurants on their way home from work or school. In addition, because fast food restaurants usually belong to chains, customers like their reliability. They say they can count on finding the same things every time, every place. Price is also very important. In fast food restaurants, people can eat large amounts of food without it costing an arm and a leg. Finally, there are also people who simply enjoy eating fast food. They love the taste of foods like burgers, tacos, and pizza. For these people, a fast food restaurant is the perfect place to go.
The minuses.
Not everyone is in favor of fast food restaurants spreading over the globe. In fact, a lot of people would prefer not to have the same fast food chains in every country they visit. Walking down the Champs-Élysées just isn't as romantic as it once was. When I see the same restaurants everywhere I go, I feel that the world is shrinking too much, complained one traveler. But there are more serious objections, too. Nutritionists point to the health consequences of eating fast foods, since they are generally high in calories, fat, and salt, but low in fiber and nutrients. They blame the worldwide problem of obesity, in part, on eating fast food. Social critics condemn fast food chains for introducing these unhealthy foods to other countries and for not paying their workers enough. Then there's the question of pollution. Those hamburgers come wrapped in a lot of paper and plastic, which creates waste that pollutes the air and water. It's a high price to pay for convenience. It's obvious that people have strong opinions about fast food. Like it or not, it's easy to see that fast food restaurants are a big part of our world. And one thing is certain, they are here to stay.
Fast facts.
French fries are the most popular fast food, followed by burgers, fried chicken, pizza, and tacos.
Men tend to eat fast food more often than women.
It's not unusual to get a drive-through order in less than 3 minutes.
The average American spends $100 a month on fast food.
More than 13 million people around the world have jobs in fast food restaurants.
Unit 9, page 148. Exercise 6.
Yuck! Ugh.
I warned you not to get the meatloaf, didn't I?
I don't remember your saying anything. I can't wait to fill out that survey.
Well then, let's do it now. How about lending me a pencil?
Here you go. Okay, question number 1. Do we support introducing Burger Queen?
Yes, we do.
Hey, wait a minute. I refuse to check that one. I think it's wrong to sell fast food in a school dining hall. It has too much fat and salt. They shouldn't encourage students to eat it.
Come on, you're not the food police. You can't keep students from eating fast food.
I guess not, but you can avoid selling it to them. And, okay, now what about question number 2? I think showing the fat and calorie content of foods is a good idea. That way, you can choose between having a burger with 18 grams of fat and a piece of chicken with 8.
That sounds appealing, but I still don't feel like seeing that information before I eat. It ruins my appetite. No, I definitely don't want to know about fat and calories. But I'm not opposed to question number 3, having more healthy choices.
I think that's a good idea, too. Look at question number 4. Do you care about lowering prices? The food is already pretty cheap.
You're right. It is.
Then I would like them not to lower prices, but to improve the quality of the food. Question number 5. Starting with this meatloaf.
That's a good point. I agree with you on both 4 and 5. Now let's look at question number 6. You can't object to their offering Chinese food.
Chinese food would be great, but they'd better hire a chef to prepare it. Remember, they can't even cook meatloaf here.
They'll probably hire someone to do it. Having some international foods makes sense since we have so many international students here now.
Right. So we both approve of offering Chinese food. Oh, look at question number 7. They're asking about starting breakfast at 6:30.
Oh, yeah? Right.
Unit 10, page 152. Read.
That's entertainment? Ooh, cries the audience as the orcas leap from the water in perfect formation. Ah, they shout as the trainer rides across the pool on the nose of one of the graceful giants. For years, dolphins, orcas, and other sea mammals have been making audiences cheer at marine theme parks around the world. But how do trainers get 9-ton whales to do acrobatic tricks or make them dance? It's not easy. Traditional animal trainers controlled animals with collars and leashes and made them perform by using cruel punishments. Then, in the 1940s, marine theme parks wanted to have dolphins do tricks. The first trainers faced big problems. You can't get a dolphin to wear a collar, and you can't punish a dolphin. It will just swim away from you. This challenge made the trainers develop a kinder, more humane method to teach animals. This method, positive reinforcement, uses rewards rather than punishments for training. To begin teaching, a trainer lets an animal act freely. When the trainer sees the correct behavior, he or she rewards the animal immediately, usually with food. The animal quickly learns that a reward follows the behavior. For complicated acts, the trainer breaks the act into many smaller parts and has the animal learn each part separately. Positive reinforcement has completely changed our treatment of animals in zoos. Elephants, for example, need a lot of physical care. However, traditional trainers used force to make elephants behave. Elephants sometimes rebelled and hurt or even killed their keepers. Through positive reinforcement, elephants at modern zoos have learned to stand at the bars of their cage and let keepers draw blood for tests and take care of their feet. Gary Priest, a former orca trainer, helped the keepers train the elephants at the San Diego Zoo. Do the elephants like the new system? They love it. They'll do anything we ask, Priest said. Unfortunately, not all trainers use positive reinforcement. Animal rights organizations have found abuses of animal actors by circuses and other entertainment companies. And the question remains, even with kind treatment, should we keep these animals captive and have them perform just for our entertainment?
Unit 10, page 161. Exercise 6.
Hi, Miss Jacobson. Can I talk to you about my essay? I know that I chose the topic, but I think I'd like to change it.
Let's see. You're writing about wild animals in zoos. It's a good topic, and you've already done a lot of work on it. Why don't you keep this topic and just add more details to the second paragraph?
Okay, but that's my problem. I can't think of anything more to say.
Didn't your uncle work with animals? I remember you're writing about him in your journal. I think you said his work made you want to learn more about animal behavior.
Oh, yeah. He was great. He worked at a wildlife park near the Caribbean Sea. He used to let me come with him when I wasn't in school. And he taught me a lot about sea turtles and the orcas in the sea near Costa Rica.
Why don't you include that in your essay?
Okay, I'll try. Is that what you meant about adding details?
That's part of it. You could also try answering some WH questions. For example, when did you decide to study zoology? Where were you living at the time?
Oh, we were living in Costa Rica. Both my mother and my uncle worked with animals. Okay, I see what you mean. I'll use WH questions to get more details.
Great. Anything else?
Yes. I'm confused about this sentence. Like, why can't I say, get zoos to release orcas is my dream?
When you use a verb form for a subject, what should you do?
Use a gerund? So should I say, getting zoos to release orcas is my dream?
Exactly. Very good.
Would you mark all the gerund mistakes on this paper? I'd like to work on them.
Why don't you go through the paper and underline the gerunds? Then we'll talk about any problems you're having.
Okay. Can I make an appointment for another conference on Wednesday?
Sure. I can see you again at 3 o'clock. And don't worry, Simon. It's going to be a great essay.
Unit 11, page 165. Read.
Welcome home. You just got back from a long, hard day at the office. You're exhausted. All you want to do is take off your jacket, put down your briefcase, and relax over a great dinner. Then, just as you're about to sit down at the table, the phone rings. You hesitate to pick it up. It's probably just another telemarketer trying to talk you into buying something you really don't need. But what if it's not? It could be important family news that you don't want to miss out on. You have to find out.
Hello?
You answer nervously.
Good evening. Is this Mr. Groner?
A strange voice asks. You know right away that it's a telemarketer. Your last name is Groden.
We have great news for you. You've been chosen to receive an all-expenses-paid trip to the Bahamas. It's an offer you can't afford to turn down.
Telemarketing, the practice of selling products and services by phone, is spreading throughout the world as the number of phones goes up and phone rates come down. To most people, annoying calls from telemarketers are about as welcome as a bad case of the flu. What can be done about this invasion of privacy? Experts have come up with several tactics that you can try out.
Sign up to have your phone number placed on a do not call list. If you're on the list and telemarketers keep on calling, write down the date and time of the call and find out the name of the organization calling you. You can then report the call to the proper authorities. Use caller ID to help identify telemarketers. If an unfamiliar number shows up, don't pick up the phone. Even better, use the Block This Caller feature on your phone to prevent future calls from getting through. If you have answered the phone, say, firmly but politely, "I'm hanging up now," and get off the phone. Ask the telemarketing company to take you off their list, but don't count on this happening immediately. You may have to ask several times before it takes effect.
None of these measures will eliminate all unwanted telephone solicitations, but they should help cut down the number of calls that you receive. Telemarketing, however, is part of a larger problem. We are constantly being flooded with unwanted offers and requests. Junk mail fills up our mailboxes, and later our trash and recycling cans when we throw it out. And the invasion is, of course, not limited to paper. When you turn on your computer and check your email, you have to deal with spam, the electronic equivalent of junk mail. What's the solution? Leave home? Move to a desert island? Maybe not. They'll probably get to you there anyway.
Unit 11, page 173. Exercise 3B. Conversation 1.
Tell Anna not to pick up the phone. It's probably a telemarketer. They call constantly.
Too late. She's already picked it up.
Conversation 2.
You can't turn down this great offer for cat food.
I'm afraid I have to turn it down. I don't have a cat.
Conversation 3.
Did you fill out the online do not call form?
I filled it out yesterday. I hope this will take care of the problem. I'm tired of these calls.
Conversation 4.
I left out my office phone and cell phone numbers on that form.
Why did you leave them out?
Conversation 5.
Remember to call your mother back.
I called her back last night.
Conversation 6.
Did you write down the dates of the calls?
I wrote them down, but then I lost the piece of paper.
Conversation 7.
Can you take my mother's name off your calling list?
Sure. We'll take it off right away.
Conversation 8.
Let's turn the phone off and have dinner.
I can't turn it off. I'm expecting an important call.
Unit 11, page 176. Exercise 6.
Hello?
Hi, this is Brenda Williams from Cheatham Telecommunications. Is this Mr. Chang?
No, this is Mr. Chen.
Well, Mr. Chen, it looks like you've been paying too much for your phone service, but we think we can help you out with our new low rates.
Oh, really?
That's right. When you sign up for our Get Together program, you'll have no limits on your home phone. You'll be able to call up your family and friends and talk as often and as long as you want.
Actually, I'm using my home phone less and less. My cell phone...
Wait till you hear the rest. The Get Together program offers cell phone service. When you add on our cell phone service, you'll get unlimited cell phone minutes, plus unlimited text messages for just one low monthly fee.
My home phone and my cell phone together? And I'll never run out of minutes or text messages? How much is the program?
That package is just $49.95 a month.
$49.95 a month.
That's right. And what a lot of people like is it eliminates problems when it's time to pay bills. Instead of separate phone bills, we put all your phone charges together on one convenient bill. So, Mr. Chen, can I sign you up today?
Are there any other charges?
Just a small fee for setting up the new plan.
How much?
That'll be just $20. It'll show up on your first bill.
How about activation fees?
Well, sure. There's a small charge to turn the service on. That's just $30.
And how about the phone? Is there a free cell phone with the Get Together program?
I'm glad you brought that up. We have a fantastic offer for you. If you sign up for a 2-year contract, you can get a new phone with a lot of great features for just $10 a month. We'll simply add the cost of the phone to your monthly bill. And if you sign up right now, we'll send you a rebate card with the phone. Send in the card and we'll give you $20 back.
$10 a month for 2 years and a $20 rebate. So the cost of the phone actually comes out to $220. You know, I have to talk this over with my wife. It sounds like I might end up paying a lot after all these fees. Can I call you back?
I'm really sorry, Mr. Chen.
Chen.
Mr. Chen, but I can only make this offer for one day. If you put it off until tomorrow, you won't have another chance. Think about it. Low home phone rates and unlimited texting and cell phone minutes. This offer is too good to pass up.
I guess I'll just stick with the service I have, but thanks anyway.
But wait, Mr. Chen.
Goodbye.
Unit 12, page 182. Read.
Extroverts and introverts. Nadia, who needs to spend several hours alone each day, avoids large social gatherings whenever possible. She hates small talk, and at office holiday parties, which are must-attend events, she's always the first one to leave. You probably know someone like Nadia. Maybe you're even one of those people that nag a friend like her to get out more. If so, stop. Nadia is an introvert, and there's really nothing wrong with that. Introverts are people that get their energy by spending time alone. Their opposites are extroverts, people whose energy comes from being around others. Neither type is better than the other. However, because there are so many more extroverts than introverts, there is a lot of misunderstanding about the introverts among us. First, people have a tendency to think that all introverts are shy. Not so. Shy people fear social situations, but many introverts just try to avoid the ones that drain their energy. Nadia, who is great at leading big, noisy business meetings, isn't afraid of those meetings, but she needs a lot of recovery time afterwards. Unlike extroverts, who love the small talk at those meetings, she prefers private conversations that focus on feelings and ideas. Secondly, people also assume that you have to be an extrovert or act like one in order to succeed. However, every day the news is full of examples that contradict that belief. Microsoft's Bill Gates is one famous introvert who comes to mind. Another is successful businesswoman Andrea Zheng. Zheng, who grew up in a traditional Chinese family, considers herself reserved but not shy. A writer who has studied the personality traits of business leaders points out that the one trait which absolutely defines successful leaders is creativity. Introverts are known for being creative, so it shouldn't be a surprise to find many of them at the top of their professions. What happens when an extrovert and an introvert become friends or fall in love? Opposites attract, but can first attraction survive really big personality differences? Yes, but only if both can accept the other person's needs, and it's not always easy. Extroverts, who have to talk through everything before they even know what they think, can drive an introvert crazy. Nadia, who always thinks before she speaks, doesn't always understand their need to talk. On the other hand, many extroverts, who reach for their cell phones after 2 minutes alone, can't see why an introvert like Nadia requires so much time by herself. Is that really normal? They wonder. However, if both people take the time to understand the other's personality type, the results can pay off. The introvert, who has a rich inner life, can help the extrovert become more sensitive to feelings. And the risk-loving extrovert can help the introvert develop a sense of adventure. As a result, each friend's personality becomes more complete. It's important to remember that no one is a pure introvert or extrovert. In fact, we are probably all ambiverts, people who act like introverts in some situations and extroverts in others. Like everyone else, you have a unique personality, your own special combination of traits that makes you, you.
Unit 12, page 188. Pronunciation note.
In writing, we use commas around non-identifying adjective clauses.
My sister Marie, comma, who lives in Seattle, comma, is an introvert.
In speaking, we pause briefly before and after non-identifying adjective clauses.
My sister Marie, who lives in Seattle, is an introvert.
We do not pause before and after identifying adjective clauses.
My sister who lives in Seattle is an introvert.
Unit 12, page 192. Exercise 6. 1.
My neighbor, who is an introvert, called me today.
2.
My neighbor, who is an introvert, called me today.
3.
My brother, who is 1 year older than me, is an extrovert.
4.
My sister, who lives in Toronto, visits us every summer.
5.
My friend who is in the same class as me lent me a book.
6.
The book, which is about personality types, is really interesting.
7.
The article that won a prize is in today's newspaper.
8.
My boyfriend, who hates parties, actually agreed to go to one with me.
Unit 12, page 194. Exercise 8.
Wow, people have really changed.
You're not kidding. Can you recognize anyone at that table over there?
Let's see. Isn't that Bob Gramer?
Bob Gramer? Which one?
The man who's standing.
You know, I think you're right. That's Bob. Wow. He looks even taller.
And isn't that Ann Richardson over there?
Ann? Where? Oh, the woman sitting next to Bob?
No, the one who's wearing a scarf.
You're right. That is Ann with the scarf.
And that's Cato.
Cato! I remember him. Which one is he?
The man who's talking to Ann.
Yeah, you're right. That's Cato. So who's the woman sitting next to Bob?
The one wearing glasses? You know, that must be Pat. Remember Pat Wayne? She and Bob used to work on the school newspaper.
Do you think they both became writers?
I don't know. Maybe. Who's the woman who's wearing all the jewelry?
You mean the one sitting across the table from Bob?
Uh-huh. The one who's looking at the photo. Do you think that could be, what's her name? Kasha.
You mean Asha?
Yeah, that's the one. Didn't she always used to wear a lot of unique jewelry, even to school?
Yes, you're right. That's Asha. Asha got married to Raza Gupta, didn't she?
I assumed she did, but that's not Raza who's sitting next to her, is it?
No, it looks more like Pete Rizzo.
Pete Rizzo. Who's he? The name sounds familiar.
Oh, you remember Pete? He was the guy who ran for class president in our senior year.
Uh-huh. He's changed a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's Pete.
Well, why don't we go over and find out if that's Pete?
Good idea. Then we can find out who the couple is that's sitting between Asha and Pat.
Yeah, I don't have a clue who they are.
Unit 13, page 199. Read.
Stories of a New Generation of Immigrants. Posted on March 21st, 2016 by Alicia Arish. Leave a comment. Immigrant Voices, 21st Century Stories is one of the best books that I've ever read. The stories which editors Achio Bejas and Megan Bales selected for the anthology are powerful. They offer a compelling view into the lives of the current generation of immigrants to the United States. Of the 18 stories in the book, my personal favorite is Absence. Absence is about Wari, a painter from Lima, Peru. His experiences illustrate many of the issues immigrants encounter. As he walks on the streets of New York, Wari is excited about the newness around him. But he is alone. The people who he loves are in Lima, and he is unable to communicate with almost everyone he meets because he doesn't speak English. Most importantly, he wonders if he is still an artist. After all, his paint, brushes, and pencils are among the things he left in Peru. Wari's problems began at the U.S. Embassy in Lima, where he went for a visa. Wari had an invitation from an American university to exhibit his paintings. His plan was to get a 3-month visa, which he could use for a double purpose. He hoped to show his artwork and also to have enough time to make a decision about whether to remain in the United States. Instead of 3 months, he received a visa for only 1 month, but he continued preparing for the day when he would fly from Lima to Miami and on to New York. When he got to Miami, an immigration officer said Wari didn't have enough money to stay in the United States for 1 month and reduced his visa to just 2 weeks. When absence ends on the evening of Wari's art exhibit, the big questions remain unanswered. Is Wari ready for life outside of Peru? Will he lose his connection to the place where he grew up? Will he experience poverty and loneliness as he struggles with life in a new country? My grandfather, with whom I have a close relationship, came to the United States as a young man. Maybe because of him, I feel connected to the people whose stories I read in Immigrant Voices. However, I'm certain this is a book that you'll be interested in too. Once you start reading, you won't put it down.
Unit 13, page 213. Exercise 7.
Today, our guest is author Maria Espinosa Martinez, who will read to us from her compelling new book, Broken Mirrors. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you. The passage which I'm going to read is from Chapter 2 of my book. I remember my childhood bedroom very well. It was a large room, which I shared with my older sister, Katie. There were 2 beds. The one which I slept in was in a corner. My sister's bed, under which was a large, beautiful old rug, was in the middle of the room, against the wall. To the left of my bed was a window through which we could see a tree. There was also a big wall mirror in which we both enjoyed looking at our own reflections. That was in the corner that was nearest my sister's bed. Across from my bed was a desk at which we both did our homework after dinner, which we always ate in the kitchen with the rest of the family. My sister, whose greatest passion in life those days was music, kept her guitar on her bed, where she would practice for hours after our homework was done. I remember those as happy times, when we were both young and full of hope and excitement.
Unit 14, page 220. Read.
Staying connected. Abigail Thompson's school friends can find out what she is doing almost every minute by checking Facebook. Vince Stevenson stays in touch with his family the same way. Vince says,
I had to join. My grandkids all use it, and I want to be involved in their lives.
Magda Tilia, an English teacher in Romania, has created an international online community for her class using another social media site. Her students are able to discuss lessons and chat with other students in France, Turkey, and Greece. She says,
Students don't have to use the site. Class is just more fun for the ones who do.
Besides staying connected, social networking can also be a great tool for making new friends. But, just like making friends at work or school, you have to make the effort to meet people with similar interests. Is Survivor a reality TV show you could never miss? If so, you might consider joining a Survivor interest group and beginning conversations with people there. Once you've made some friends, you should keep posting comments, photos, and videos that people can respond to. However, while you're having fun getting to know people, you must never forget that what you put on the internet isn't really private. Even if your posts are only available to friends, embarrassing content can still become public. So maybe you'd better think twice before posting those party photos. Once they're out there, you can't take them back. Social networking is a great resource for students. When you're applying to school, you can network by chatting with current students. They could give you an inside view of the school you're interested in. Once in school, you can form study groups, organize your schedule, and much more. But be careful, you might also find yourself wasting valuable study time. Recently, Abigail has decided she's got to limit her social media use.
I must waste hours a day online. I'm always chatting and not doing homework,
she said, but she's still a big fan.
I believe everyone ought to use social networking.
She is quick to point out.
It's a big world out there, and you can meet a lot of interesting new people and stay connected with those you already know. You just have to know when to say enough is enough and sign off.
Unit 14, page 232. Exercise 5.
Leah, you really must join Facebook. You're my only friend who isn't on it.
I just don't have time for it. There are too many other things that I've got to do.
You must have some free time.
Sure I do, but I can't afford to spend it online. Besides, isn't it dangerous?
Not really. Of course, you have to be careful and use common sense, just like with other things.
Well, I guess you could be right.
Trust me, it's a lot of fun, and you can meet a lot of interesting people.
I don't have to join Facebook to meet interesting people. But on second thought, I suppose it might be fun to reconnect with old friends.
Exactly. You really ought to give it some thought. Will you think about it?
Will we be able to chat online if I join?
Sure.
In that case, I might.
Unit 15, page 238. Read.
My parents shouldn't have discouraged me. I ought to have applied to college. I should have been rich and famous by now. I could have become a doctor.
Useless regrets.
For all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these. It might have been. John Greenleaf Whittier.
Regrets. Everyone has them. Psychiatrist Nathan S. Klein, M.D., says it's normal to feel deep regret about things in the past that you think you should have done and did not do, or the opposite, about things you did and feel you should not have done. However, if we think about our past mistakes, we can often learn from them. For example, a student who fails a test learns that he or she should have studied more and can improve on the next test. Thinking too much about past mistakes and missed opportunities, on the other hand, can create such bad feelings that people can become paralyzed. As a result, they find that they can't move on with their lives. In their book, Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, Overcoming Regrets, Mistakes, and Missed Opportunities, Arthur Freeman and Rose DeWolf have analyzed how people respond to regrets. They argue that people should not say, "I should have done better." Instead, they tell people to ask themselves, what could I have done differently? Did I really have the skills, money, and experience at the time to get the results I hoped for? When people examine their feelings of regret about the past, they often find that they are based on a misunderstanding of the situation. For example, perhaps the student who thinks she ought to have spent more time studying really couldn't have done so because she was too exhausted from job and family responsibilities. According to recent ideas in psychology, our feelings are mainly the result of the way we perceive reality, not reality itself. Once people realize how unrealistic their feelings of regret often are, they are more ready to let go of them. Psychiatrist David Burns, M.D., suggests specific strategies for dealing with useless feelings of regret and getting on with the present. One amusing technique is to spend 10 minutes a day writing all the things you think you should or shouldn't have done that day. Then say them all aloud. Better yet, record them and listen to yourself. When you recognize how foolish most feelings of regret sound, the next step is to let go of them and to start dealing with the problems you face right now. After all, you can't change the past.
Unit 15, page 241. Pronunciation note.
In informal conversation, we often pronounce have or its contraction 'VE in a past modal like the word a.
I should have called you. They could have helped more. They might have told me sooner.
We sometimes pronounce ought to have like oughta of.
They ought to have come on time.
Unit 15, page 243. Exercise 2B.
Should Mr. Thompson have given Greg a raise?
Yes, he should have. After all, Greg had worked there for a whole year, and it's normal to get a raise after a year. In my opinion, Mr. Thompson shouldn't have refused at that point.
But maybe Mr. Thompson couldn't afford to give Greg a raise. Anyway, Greg still shouldn't have taken the sweater. It wasn't his.
What strategy should Greg have used instead?
He might have asked Mr. Thompson to sell him the sweater. Then he could have paid for it slowly, out of his salary.
He ought to have worn his old clothes to the party. His behavior was destructive. He just hurt himself by taking the sweater.
Well, should Mr. Thompson have fired Greg?
No. He could have examined the situation more carefully before taking action. Greg had been a good employee for a year, and he brought the sweater back. Now Greg's reputation might be ruined.
Well, how should Mr. Thompson have handled the situation?
I think that he ought to have warned Greg. He really shouldn't have fired Greg without any warning.
Unit 15, page 245. Exercise 4. Conversation 1.
Doug ought to have sent that email.
I know, but you should have told him that yesterday.
Conversation 2.
We should have taken the train.
You're right. We might have been home by now.
Conversation 3.
I guess I ought to have accepted that job.
Well, maybe you could have waited a few days before deciding.
Conversation 4.
You should have washed that t-shirt in cold water.
I guess I ought to have read the label before I washed it.
Conversation 5.
I ought to have asked my sister to lend me some money.
She's your sister. She could have offered to help.
Unit 15, page 246. Exercise 6.
What a day. I really messed up in a big way. For starters, I could have done my homework. Now, I gotta get up early tomorrow morning, and it's already midnight. I hate this. I'm gonna be exhausted tomorrow. And I shouldn't have walked to work today. I was late again, and I could see that Doug was really annoyed. Then I got a notice from my bank that one of my checks bounced. Now I'm afraid I'm gonna bounce another one. I really ought to have made that $100 deposit today. I'll never learn. Speaking of money, I shouldn't have bought that new coat. That was really unnecessary. My old one's good enough, and I could have used the extra money. I just don't have any self-control. Oh, and now Aunt Rose is furious with me. I didn't send her a card for her birthday. Again. I might have at least called to wish her a happy birthday. I only think of myself. On the other hand, I shouldn't have called Ron. All he does is complain. He regrets this, he regrets that. It's not normal. Now I feel depressed, but I guess I asked for it. I don't know why I'm friends with Ron. I really should examine my relationship with him. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah. I ought to have gone to the supermarket before it closed. I never plan ahead. And now there's nothing in the house to eat, and I'm hungry. I guess I really should have finished that David Burns book. Maybe then I'd know how to feel better. Oh well, maybe I can just watch a good movie tonight. And then there's always tomorrow.
Unit 16, page 252. Read.
The Iceman. On September 19th, 1991, 2 German tourists were hiking in the Alps between Austria and Italy when they discovered a corpse half buried in the ice. They assumed the body must have belonged to a mountain climber who had recently died as the result of an accident. They couldn't have imagined the truth. The body belonged to a man who had lived more than 5,000 years ago. Not only that, he might have been the victim of a brutal murder. Who was he? What was he doing in that remote location? How did he die? In the decades since this discovery, scientists have been trying to answer these questions. The ice preserved the body amazingly well. In fact, it is the oldest intact human body ever found. As a result, scientists from all over the world have X-rayed and examined him. The Iceman, as he is called, has become the subject of much speculation. Found in the ice, alongside the Iceman, were many objects. He had weapons, a copper axe, a knife, a bow, and arrows. Some of his clothing also survived: snowshoes, a coat, a belt, leggings, a cap. He also had a backpack and a bag, which contained some tools and dried mushrooms. These objects provide clues to the man himself and to what might have happened to him. The axe, for example, was very valuable, and it indicates that the Iceman may have been a very important and wealthy person in his community. At first, scientists believed that the Iceman must have died accidentally during a winter storm. However, in 2001, X-rays told another story. There was an arrowhead buried in the Iceman's left shoulder. The new theory was that he was the victim of a violent attack and must have bled to death as a result of this wound. Later examination discovered wounds to other parts of his body, including his head. This led to the speculation that he may have died from a head injury. Someone could have followed him up the mountain and attacked him while he was trying to run away. Then, in 2009, scientists discovered another clue to the mystery of the Iceman's death. A more powerful X-ray, a CT scan, showed a very full stomach. The Iceman had eaten a big meal just before his death, not the behavior of someone trying to run for his life. This led investigators to believe that the killer couldn't have been a stranger to the Iceman. He had to have known him. Could the Iceman have fallen and hit his head after the shot from the arrow, or did an attacker hit him over the head with a rock? Why were many of his arrows unfinished and not ready to use? Why didn't his attacker take the valuable axe? Theories about the Iceman's life and death have changed a lot over time as a result of advances in medical technology. And although much has been learned about him, there are still more secrets to learn from this amazing man, frozen in time for more than 5,000 years.
Unit 16, page 257. Pronunciation note.
In informal conversation, we often pronounce could have, may have, and might have as could have, may have, and might have. We often pronounce couldn't have as couldn't have.
This could have been a tool.
Or it may have been a weapon.
That's true. It might have been a knife.
It couldn't have been a weapon. It's not sharp.
Remember that you can also pronounce could have, coulda, and might have, mighta.
It could have been a tool.
It might have been a knife.
Unit 16, page 261. Exercise 5. Conversation 1.
What was that used for?
I'm not sure. It could have been a spoon.
Conversation 2.
I called Rahul yesterday afternoon, but there was no answer.
Oh, he might have gone to the museum.
Conversation 3.
Is Sarah still on Easter Island?
I'm not sure. She may have left already.
Conversation 4.
I think I saw John yesterday.
You couldn't have seen him. He's in Peru.
Conversation 5.
Do you agree with the author's conclusion?
I don't know. He might have been wrong.
Conversation 6.
Alice got an A on her archaeology test.
She must have been happy.
Conversation 7.
Could they have sailed that far in small boats?
Sure they could have. They were expert sailors.
Unit 16, page 263. Exercise 7. Conversation 1.
Wow! Look at that. It's got a blade. And this looks like a handle.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a knife. It might have been some kind of tool, like a sickle.
A sickle? What's that?
It's a kind of farming tool, something people use to cut down high grass.
You mean like wheat?
Yeah, they could have harvested wheat with this.
Conversation 2.
That's a strange-looking design.
It sure is. It looks like an astronaut. You know, some people believe that astronauts from other planets visited ancient civilizations here on Earth. Who knows? People may have seen one of those astronauts and made a picture of him.
Well, I really don't know about that. Anyhow, what do you think people use this for?
Well, look at the hole. They may have worn it on a string around their necks for good luck or something.
That's right. They could have.
Conversation 3.
Hey, look at this ring. What do you suppose they used it for?
Good question. I guess it could have been part of a shoe.
Part of a shoe? What do you mean?
Like an eyelet, you know, the holes in a shoe?
Oh, you mean the holes for shoelaces?
Yeah, they could have pulled some kind of shoelace through the hole and then tied the laces.
I see what you mean.
Conversation 4.
That's beautiful. What do you think it came from?
Well, from the round shape and from the design, I'd say it must have been part of a vase.
Or it could have been a cooking or serving dish.
Yeah, the design looks like some kind of border.
It could have been part of the base.
No, it's too narrow for the bottom. It must have been part of the top, the neck. They could have poured water or soup out of this part.
You're right.
Conversation 5.
That looks like a pretty complicated tool.
Is it a pump?
A pump? I don't think so. I remember reading about something like this in one of our books. I think they could have used this to make fire.
Really? How would they have made fire with it?
Well, they could have had tinder inside the cylinder. That's this long, round part on the bottom, see?
Okay, I see. But what's tinder?
Tinder is something that burns easily, like dry leaves. Look, when they pushed this piece on the top down into the cylinder, it quickly compressed the air.
Compressed. That means it pushed it into a small space, right? And that made the air hot.
Right. So then the tinder could start to burn.
Incredible. How did they figure that out? They must have been very intelligent.
Yeah, really.
Conversation 6.
What's that you've got there? It looks just like a rock.
Yeah, it looks like a rock, but I don't think it actually is a rock. Someone must have made it.
You know, I think you're right. It couldn't have just formed like that naturally. Someone must have chipped away at it to produce all those different angles. What do you think it was used for?
I think it must have been used as some kind of tool.
They could have used it to cut hard material, like wood.
You mean like a hand axe?
Exactly, like a hand axe.
Unit 17, page 270. Read.
Geography, the best subject on Earth. Geography is the study of the Earth and its people. It sounds exciting, doesn't it? Yet for decades, students yawned just hearing the word. They were forced to memorize the names of capital cities, important rivers and mountains, and natural resources. They were taught where places were and what was produced there, but they weren't shown how our world looks and feels. And then came National Geographic. From the Amazon rainforest to the Sahara Desert, and from Baalbek to Great Zimbabwe, the natural and human-made wonders of our world have now been brought to life by its fascinating reporting and beautiful photographs, such as the one on page 270, which was taken by photojournalist Reza Degati of a man planting a palm tree in Saudi Arabia. The National Geographic Society was formed in Washington, D.C. in 1888 by a group of professionals including geographers, explorers, teachers, and mapmakers. 9 months later, the first National Geographic magazine was published so that the Society could fulfill its mission to spread knowledge of and respect for the world, its resources, and its inhabitants. In 1995, the first foreign language edition of National Geographic was published in Japan. Today, the magazine is printed in English and more than 40 local languages and sold all over the world. National Geographic also puts out a number of special publications. National Geographic Explorer, for example, has been created for classrooms. Other publications feature travel and adventure. National Geographic TV programs are watched in over 440 million homes in more than 170 countries, and digital editions are read by hundreds of thousands of people a month. The study of geography has come a very long way since 1888. The Society's mission has been fulfilled. In fact, it has even been extended to include worlds beyond Earth. From the deep seas to deep space, geography has never been more exciting.